Okay, everybody, hello. Hello, hello, hello. My friend here. Hi there. Hi, everyone, and welcome to the British Hills Manor House tour. Um, yeah, this is a time, this is an event for everybody to come along and have a watch and see some things about British Hills, but also, as well, I want to hear from you. So, if anybody has any questions at any time, please send me a message, and I'd be happy to answer it. Okay, well, let's begin. So, first, first, our friend Matt is going to give you a little bit of an introduction to British Hills, and let's hear from Matt.
Hello there, my name is Matt and welcome to the Manor House. This area we are in now is the reception area. This is the first place you will see when you visit the Manor House. You will come here to check in, or if you need any help during your stay, you can come and talk to our friendly reception staff. If you see this big light behind me here, this is a chandelier. It comes from France. If you had a chandelier in a big manor house like this, you would have been seen to have lots of money. You would have been very rich. The United Kingdom is made up of 4 countries. You have England, Scotland, Wales, and Northern Ireland. If you look behind me here at the picture above the fireplace, you have England in the summertime at a place called the Lake District. The Lake District is very famous for a certain individual living there called Beatrix Potter. She wrote Peter Rabbit, who is a very popular character here in Japan. If you look above me here, we have a Wedgwood design ceiling. It is called the wedding cake. It goes from white to green to pink. Wedgwood is a very famous company in England. They make tea sets and cutlery, which they're very famous for now, but back in the 1700s they did ceiling designs like this. Buckingham Palace also has Wedgwood design ceilings in a few of their rooms. So if you ever go to London, keep an eye out for some Wedgwood design ceilings. The 4 countries of the United Kingdom each have an animal that represents that country. You have the lion for England and Northern Ireland. You also have the unicorn, which is for Scotland. And for Wales, you have the dragon, which we have here. This is also known as a If you look behind me here at the picture above the fireplace, you have England in the summertime at a place called the Lake District. The Lake District is very famous for a certain individual living there called Beatrix Potter. She wrote Peter Rabbit, who is a very popular character here in Japan. If you look above me here, we have a Wedgwood design ceiling. It is called the wedding cake. It goes from white to green to pink. Wedgwood is a very famous company in England. They make tea sets and cutlery, which they're very famous for now, but back in the 1700s they did ceiling designs like this. Buckingham Palace also has Wedgwood design ceilings in a few of their rooms. So if you ever go to London, keep an eye out for some Wedgwood design ceilings.
Okay, Matt, thank you very much. Thank you very much for that introduction to British Hills. So, as you saw in the video, British Hills is surrounded by lots of nature. It is actually the Hatariko National Park. British Hills is 1,000 meters above sea level. Now, to put that into perspective, the tallest mountain in the UK, Ben Nevis, is only 1,345 meters tall. So British Hills is not really far off the highest mountain in the UK, which is quite impressive. Now, Matt pointed out the chandelier. Now, chandeliers were not only expensive to buy, but chandeliers are also extremely expensive to keep. Now, Matt also pointed out the picture above the fireplace. Now, another thing to know about the picture above the fireplace is that it changes every season. Matt mentioned to you that there are 4 countries in the UK, and each picture, which represents each season, also represents each country. So, in summertime, it's England. In autumn time, it's Scotland. In spring, it's Ireland. And in winter, it's Wales. Now, another interesting point in our reception is our fireplace. Now, at British Hills, we have many, many fireplaces, but only 2 of them are working. Now, one of those fireplaces is in the reception. Okay, and the other working fireplace is in the pub. Now, the pub fireplace is really interesting because that is called a sit-in fireplace. Now, that fireplace, really interesting because you can sit in the fireplace and you can get really warm and enjoy your drinks by the fire. So yeah, it's quite a nice environment to be in. Okay, next, Matt is going to tell you all about the upper hall.
The 4 countries of the United Kingdom each have an animal that represents that country. You have the lion for England and Northern Ireland. You also have the unicorn, which is for Scotland. And for Wales, you have the dragon, which we have here. This is also known as a grotesque. A grotesque was believed to come alive and ward off evil spirits. It would scare away people with bad intentions. But luckily, I've never seen the grotesque come alive. So hopefully as we go upstairs, it won't come alive. Welcome to the upper hall of the manor house. The upper hall was commonly used as a passageway to private quarters. But here at British Hills, we also use it for weddings. As you can see, it's a very beautiful setting for weddings. We also have another chandelier. As I mentioned downstairs, a chandelier would have been a sign of wealth. Before electricity was common, they used candles as a source of light, and candles were very expensive. So imagine trying to change candles every day. would have cost a lot. Above the chandelier here, we have another beautifully designed ceiling. This one here is called the Rose Garden. If you look behind me, we have the stained glass window. In the upper hall, we also have 5 carvings. We have Sir Francis Drake, Norwich Cathedral, the British style, the Royal Sport cockfights, and the governess.
Okay, Matt, thank you very much. Cheers. Thank you. Yeah, thanks for giving us some information about the upper hall. Now, Matt also mentioned that each country has an animal that represents that country. Now, I always think it's interesting to know that there are actually no lions in England, and I'm not sure why the lion represents England, but it does. And yeah, you know, the animal that represents Scotland is a fictional creature. So yeah, quite funny what we choose to represent us. Now the other, in this picture here even, you can see the stained glass window. Now, the stained glass window is quite interesting. It was handmade in the UK. It was handmade in a city called Salisbury, which is actually really close to my house. It is also extremely heavy. Now, people say that it weighs about 1 ton. I'm not sure if this is true. I'm not sure if we've tested this, but it is so big, so heavy, and so delicate that when it came to British Hills, we needed to cut it into 6 pieces for it to travel from the UK to Japan properly. Now, as you can see, on the stairs, there is a dragon or a grotesque holding a shield. Now, this shield would be called a family crest, and these crests would represent families. Now, on a crest, there would be different sections, and each section would represent some part of the family in some way. So, for example, if you were farmers, maybe you would have some wheat, or if you were ironmongers and working with metal, you would have a hammer. There could be all kinds of symbolism in your family crest. Now, I believe Matt is going to tell us about the Queen's Room.
Here we are in the Queen's Room. The lady of the house would often sleep here. She would also fill the room with many items that she liked. For example, she would have flowers in this room to make the room smell nice. She would also have tea sets in here, so if any of her friends visited, she could host a small party for them. She would also have a writing set. She would write letters to her family and friends who lived in different counties. Because remember, back in the Victorian days, there was no emails or text messages. So writing was the most common form of communication.
Okay, again, thank you, Matt. Thank you very much. So now, you're with me here in the Queen's Room. Now, while it's very, very rare, you can actually stay in the Queen's Room at British Hills. You can stay here, but it's extremely expensive. To stay just one night in the Queen's Room, people say that it costs 250,000 yen. Now, of course, that's a lot of money, and usually the Queen's Room is used for manor house tours, or when we have weddings at British Hills, the bride uses it for a changing room. However, I have worked at British Hills for a long time now, and I can remember one person staying in the Queen's room, which was quite a surprise for everybody. Nobody thought it would ever happen. Now, I would like to draw your attention to the unicorns all around the top of the room. Now, these unicorns, they were put there to protect the person in the room from bad spirits and nightmares. In the Queen's room, we have over 150 unicorns. Now, here we have another Wedgwood ceiling in the Queen's room, accompanied by a small but very nice chandelier. Now, the thing about Wedgwood, the company, was started by a man called Joshua Wedgwood. Very interesting. But Joshua Wedgwood's grandson was Charles Darwin. Even more interesting. So, history everywhere. Now, around the manor house, in most rooms, you will find furniture decorated with animals in some way. So here you can see the footstool at the end of the Queen's room bed. It is decorated with some geese. Now, next, Matt is going to introduce to us the King's room.
This is the King's room. This is where the Lord of the house would sleep. Like the Queen's room, he would fill this room with items that he was personally interested in. As you can see, of the various animals we have around here, he was a big fan of hunting. He would often travel to different countries to hunt. He would maybe go to India to hunt tigers, South Africa to hunt lions, and Canada to hunt brown bears, like the one we have here.
Again, thank you, Matt. Now, I would like to remind everyone who's watching, or all 11 of us, if you have any questions at any time, please feel free to write me a question. I'd be happy to answer them. I'm live, I'm not a video. Okay, so in the King's room, as you can see, we have our 4-poster bed. I'm never going to get that right. Our 4-poster bed. Now, manor houses are, of course, very, very large. And back before electricity and before central heating and gas heating, of course, keeping a manor house warm was very difficult. We'd have large fireplaces, but the rooms were very large. So one way to stay warm at night was to have a 4-poster bed. Now, between the posters, between the corners of the bed, you'd have curtains, and they could close the curtains and keep heat inside the bed. Of course, another way to stay warm at night would be to use animal fur. Okay, so like you see on our bed, we have a brown Canadian bear that was donated to British Hills quite some time ago. Now, moving on to our next picture. Now then, this is a chessboard. A very interesting chessboard. Chess is a game loved all over the world. Chess started, people believe that the earliest form of chess started in India in the 7th century in some form. But, however, modern chess, as we know it, is about 1,500 years old. Now, our chessboard is a themed chessboard. And that's very interesting because this is a themed chessboard of the Battle of Waterloo, a famous battle between the English and the French. Now, as you can see here, soldiers would come to battle. Now, in the game of chess, your job is to capture the opponent's king. But going back to the theme of this chessboard, the Waterloo chessboard, this was a battle when Napoleon when Napoleon lost to the English, and then after the Battle of Waterloo, slowly losing his power across the world. Now, another interesting point about the Battle of Waterloo is Waterloo teeth. Now, when soldiers died at the Battle of Waterloo, locals would come around and they would take the people's teeth from their dead bodies. And then they would use those teeth to make false teeth. So human teeth were very valuable in that time, before plastic, before being able to carve ivory into fake teeth. So these would be called Waterloo teeth, or even sometimes Waterloo ivory. Okay. All right. Next, Matt is going to tell us about the library.
Here we are at the library in the manor house. The library would be used by the lord of the house to keep his many books. He'd have a large collection. Like here at British Hills, we have 1,600 books here, many first and second edition books. So if you imagine, very expensive to collect these books, very old as well, so they're very delicate. As well as books, there'd also be many items in this library from different places in the world. For example, we have this ladder. This is from India, and it's called an elephant ladder. British ambassadors to India would use this to climb onto elephants. It's a very nice piece we have here at British Hills. And if you look over here, we also have vases which are from India as well. The library here at British Hills has two styles of room. We have the social side, which has very nice furniture which you can sit and relax in. It also has a very unusual style of chair, which is called the whispering chair. The other side of the library is the conference side. We have a big table and many chairs where you would usually hold meetings.
Okay, Matt, again, thank you very much. Thank you for introducing the library to us. Now, as Matt said, there are over 1,600 books in the library, an awful lot of books. So you can see why we need our elephant ladder. Now, mostly our books range from the, they're also very old, but their ages range, their time of publication ranges from 1850 to about 1910, so extremely old. My personal favourite part of the library is just up and around this corner. We have a section in our library which is some travel journals from people that visited Japan in its very earliest, well, when Japan opened to the rest of the world. Engineers and things like that came from the UK, and they wrote journals about their time and experiences in Japan. So it's very, very interesting to read. Now then, let's have a look in here. So here is our meeting room. Now, as Matt said, this would be used for functions and meetings, chatting with people. Now, also, as well, at British Hills is also used as a filming location. Now, of course, one very famous drama that was filmed at British Hills was Hana Yori Dango. But many, many things have been filmed at British Hills. Not only that, we've had many different TV programs, and even in the last few years, we had a television crew come from Taiwan. So British Hills is often used as a filming location. Okay, here we have a picture of Sir Christopher Wren. Now, Sir Christopher Wren lived between 1632 and 1723. Now, he was a highly acclaimed, highly thought of British architect. But he was many other things. He wasn't only an architect. He was also an astronomer and a mathematician, among many, many other things. Now, Christopher Wren is actually from a part of the UK called Wiltshire, from the county of Wiltshire, and I am also from the county of Wiltshire. So, yeah, me and Christopher Wren at least have that in common. Now, Christopher Wren is also, he very famously redesigned St. Paul's Cathedral, which is, if you can just see, I can't, if you can see, just in the background of that painting there, you can see St. Paul's Cathedral, and he redesigned it. All right. Okay. Now we have a copy, a replica of the Magna Carta in the library. Now, what is the Magna Carta? Well, Magna Carta, that doesn't sound like English to me, but Magna Carta, or in English we would call it the Great Charter. Now, that was first written in 1215. Now, basically, the Magna Carta was designed to bring peace between King John of England and rebel barons. Now, barons would be powerful people in the country, powerful tradesmen that wanted to make money and continue to make money. But there was some tension between the king and those barons, and the Magna Carta was written to bring peace between those two groups of people. Now, the Magna Carta has a long, long, long history and is often brought up in English history. Now, really, the document was about the powers of kings and the rights of people. It was annulled in 1216 by the Pope, but then again rebought back by every English monarch after that. Okay, nice. So next, we're going to talk a little bit about the snooker room.
Welcome to the snooker room here at British Hills. So snooker is a cue sport. So you use one of these to play, where you hit the balls into pockets. It was invented by British soldiers in India, and they brought it back to the UK. And Thurston was the company that commercialized snooker, made it popular amongst the people. So the tables we have here at British Hills are Thurston tables. They're from the same city as the Beatles, Liverpool. They're very, very big with very small pockets. They're also very heavy, 1,000 kilograms, which is about the same as a small car, so very hard to move.
Okay, Matt, thank you very much. Thank you for introducing the snooker room to us. Now, I would also like to say a big thank you to Yuri T. They said, I visited the library 2 years ago. I hope I can visit again. I hope that you can visit again too. We'd love to see you again, Yuri. And yeah, please come back and visit us anytime. Okay, back to the snooker room. Yes, so at British Hills, yeah, we're very lucky. We have our own snooker room. Very, very large room. Now, snooker, you may think, looks a lot like billiards, and it does. But snooker is played on a much, much bigger table and is a much more complicated game. In the game of snooker, you have 15 red balls and you have 6 coloured balls. Now, it is quite a game to learn for beginners. Now, a game for beginners can last maybe 1 to 2 hours. It takes quite a long time. But if you're a pro, pros can play snooker in about 10 minutes. So, as you can imagine, you can put that on television and professional players play many games of snooker to win a competition. Okay. Now, I would like to talk a little bit about the makers of the tables. Now, Thurston. Like Matt said, Thurston is a company from Liverpool in the UK. They make some of the finest snooker tables. We're very lucky at British Hills to have 3 Thurston snooker tables with us. I believe they're very rare in Japan, and British Hills maybe has the most Thurston snooker tables in one place. Now, Thurston is a very interesting company. It was made in 1799, hundreds of years ago. However, Thurston today is still a running company. You can go and visit the Thurston website, and if you want to, you can go and buy a Thurston snooker table. Okay, all right. So I think the next place we're going to go is we're going to go to the drawing room. Okay, so Matt is going to tell us a little bit about the drawing room.
We are now standing in the drawing room. This drawing room here at British Hills finished construction in 2019. Traditionally, a drawing room in a manor house would be used by the Lord and Lady to entertain esteemed guests who came to visit. So royal family members or political party members and people like that who ever visited the family. This drawing room in particular is actually based off Princess Diana's drawing room from Althorp House in the United Kingdom. And if you walk down the stairs with me here, we will walk into the ballroom. The ballroom can sit up to 200 people, and you can move the chairs to the side to make open space for any events that may be hosted here at British Hills.
Okay, Matt, thank you very much for telling us all about the drawing room. Now, as you can see, this is the drawing room here. Now, the drawing room is filled with lots of lovely furniture, and as Matt said, all these pieces of furniture are replicas from Althorp Manor, where Princess Diana used to live. Now, for those of you who don't know Princess Diana, maybe you know the princes of England. There are many princes, but maybe the 2 most famous ones at the moment are Prince William and Prince Harry, and Princess Diana was their mother. Now, let's have a little look around the drawing room. Okay, so around the drawing room there are lots and lots and lots of pieces of interesting furniture with lots of different pieces of art on them, perhaps fairies, perhaps birds and other types of animals. So when you come to the drawing room, please have a look and see what you can find. Now, as Matt mentioned, the drawing room leads on to the ballroom. Now, the ballroom at British Hills is used for many different things. We use the ballroom for school events, we use it for ceremonies, we use it for checking in people, things like that. Any large event, presentations, things like that. Now, as Matt said, the chairs that you can see here, we can actually move them to the side and use the ballroom for other big functions like dancing or any other kind of large event. Okay, all right, moving on. Now, I think the next place we're going to visit is the refectory, and I think Matt is going to introduce us to the refectory.
So here we are at the refectory here at British Hills. A refectory, traditionally in a manor house, would be used to host events. There is a stage here which will be used for a band, and people will be here dancing. But the refectory here at British Hills is used for meals. So any staying guest that is here, they would have breakfast, lunch and dinner here in the refectory. The refectory is also modelled after the same refectory hall at Oxford University. You may also notice the flags and shields that we have around the hall here. The reason we have those here is they are different counties in the United Kingdom that donated items here to British Hills while under construction. A county in the United Kingdom is very similar to a prefecture in Japan. They have their main city, lots of small towns, and then you have small villages in that county. So for example, Fukushima, the main city is Fukushima City. Like for Leeds, the main city for Leeds is Leeds. So usually named after the county.
Okay, Matt, thank you very much. Thank you for introducing the refectory to us. Now, at British Hills, as you can see here, the refectory is where schools and guests mainly eat their meals. You can have all meals in the refectory, breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Now, as Matt mentioned, the refectory is based on a refectory at Oxford University, the famous Oxford University. Now, that same refectory at Oxford University went on to be used in the Harry Potter films. So that's why they look quite similar. Okay. Now, another thing about the refectory is we also have the royal balcony. So if you see just up here, don't want my hand to cut off, just up here, that is the royal balcony up there. All right, now the royal balcony is for our VIP guests. So if you come here and you are a very important person, that is probably where you'll be having your dinner. All right, now, okay, the next place we're going to go to is the Ambassadors Hall. But before we go to the Ambassadors Hall, I would like to have a big shout out to Okidoki Bass Fishing. Wow, hi there. I love world history and can see many British historical things in British Hills. That is correct, Okidoki Bass Fishing. You can see many historical things around British Hills. In fact, when I came to British Hills, I was very, very shocked at how much famous and historical British things were here. It's quite amazing. Okay, we've got some comments here. Hi Ian, I like it. Thank you very much, I like it too. And Lil Yardon, I like it. Thank you very much. Thank you for your support. All right, the next place we're going to go is the Ambassadors Hall.
Welcome to our Ambassadors Hall. The Ambassadors Hall seats 100 people and it's our largest classroom here at British Hills. It's called the Ambassadors Hall because if you look along the wall, we have pictures of the first ambassador to Japan to the latest ambassador to Japan.
Okay, sorry, we'll jump back into the refectory, but yeah, guys. So, yeah, that was the Ambassadors Hall. Again, that is a very, very large classroom that we have here at British Hills. Now, if you come to British Hills and you do things like a presentation or you do a large class event, that is where you'll be doing it, in the Ambassadors Hall. Now, the Ambassadors Hall can sit 100 people, so we can often fit a whole school in there. All right, the next place we're going to visit is Victorian Alley.
This is the British Hills gift store, Victorian Alley. It opened July 2019 and you get a nice variety of different British Hills made goods. The most popular item being the pound cake, which changes flavours during the season. Summertime is an apricot cake and wintertime is a yuzu cake, which is very popular.
Again, Matt, thank you very much. Thank you very much for introducing Victorian Alley to us. I just want to give a big shout out to Kasumi. Kasumi says she wants to visit British Hills. So yeah, please come along. Please come and visit us anytime. We'd love to have you here. All right. So yeah, as Matt said, we are in Victorian Alley. So this is the shop here at British Hills. Now, in Victorian Alley, there are items from all over the world. Okay, not just only items from Japan or the UK, but items from all over the place. Now, another great thing about being at British Hills, but also in the shop, is you can have English only service if you want. If you want to speak 100% English from the moment you get to British Hills to the moment you leave, you can, and you can do that in the shop. If you want to go into the shop and buy everything and use your English with the staff there, you can. All right. Now here we have the Rose Room. Now the Rose Room is right next door to the Victorian Alley, next to our shop. It's a great little place. It is just a place to go and sit and relax. So maybe after you've gone to the shop and you've spent lots of money and you need a break, yeah, come to our Rose Room and you can sit down and have a little relax and maybe eat some of the snacks that you bought in the shop. Okay. Oh, we got a question here. Oh, we got a couple of questions. Look at this. Nice. Thanks, guys. Okay, Ian, which is your recommendation? Now, Ian, that's a great question. Thank you very much for asking. I recommend that people visit the Ascot Tea Room at British Hills. I think the Ascot Tea Room has some wonderful food. If you like sandwiches, cake, tea, coffee, ice cream, sweets, go to the Ascot Tea Room. I think it has some of the best food at British Hills. But I also enjoy the pub. Now, the pub is a great place to visit too. At the pub, you can eat one of Britain's most famous dishes, fish and chips. So we serve fish and chips at British Hills, and you can come and enjoy it in this British setting. Okay. We've got Kasumi Ito. I visited there when I was in elementary school. Wow, goodness me. Okay, I'm Kasumi. I'm not sure how old you are now, but that's wonderful. And I wonder if you met me when you came in elementary school. I wonder if you can remember me. I've worked here for a long time now. Maybe you do. We've got a person just named Hiragana A, and they say hi, and I say hi back. Hi, how you doing? Okay. I think it's Pikomaru. It sounds great. Thank you very much. Yeah, I hope it sounds great, and I hope that you decide to come and visit us. Yeah, please come on down, and we'd love to have you here and chat English with you, and we'd love to show you British Hills and learn all about you too. So, guys, unfortunately, while that was very quick, yeah, that does bring us to the end of our Manor House tour, and I want to say thank you very much to everyone who commented. And everybody who stuck around and watched. Thank you, all 11 people. You really made this really fun for me, so thank you very much. I really hope that we can meet some of you when you come and visit British Hills. Now, I'm just going to hang around for just 1 or 2 more minutes, just in case we get any more questions. So, would anybody like to ask me a question? If you would, please put your question in the chat box below. This is your opportunity. Now, I can tell you at the moment at British Hills, it is getting very, very cold. And even this morning, it even snowed just a little bit. This was kind of rain and snow, and we call that sleet. And yeah, that was maybe the signs of a very cold winter to come. Now, British Hills, like I mentioned, is very, very high up on top of a mountain, over 1,000 meters above sea level. Now, British Hills gets a lot of snow in the winter, and one of the great things that you can do here is you can do lessons like cross-country skiing or snowshoeing. So they're all great fun, and it's a great opportunity to come and do that. The other great thing about British Hills in the winter time is very, very close to British Hills. We have the Grande Hattorico ski resort. And you can actually come and stay at British Hills, but during the day, you can go skiing and snowboarding at Grande Hattorico. And I love it there. And I enjoy snowboarding there all the time. All right. How are we doing for questions? Let's just have a little look. Okay. No worries. I'll give you a bit more time. Another really nice thing about coming to British Hills, in the springtime, British Hills is great for having a walk. So around British Hills, we have our nature trail. Our nature trail is about just over 2 kilometers long if you walk the whole thing. Now, on one side of the nature trail, we have our viewpoint. Our viewpoint, one of our viewpoints, overlooks the Lake Hattori. Very, very nice. Very, very nice to go for a walk and have a look at the lake, have a look at the mountains. And now on the other side of the nature trail, we have another viewpoint, and you can see the Shirakawa Meadows golf course, and you can see some mountains with the Grande Hattorico ski resort on it. So you'll see in the summertime, you'll see these big green lines going down the mountain, but in wintertime, of course, they're covered in snow. Okay, guys. Well, I think we're about done. We don't seem to be getting any more questions, so I'm going to say goodbye. But I want to thank you all very, very much for tuning in and watching. Thank you for all your questions. Thank you for your support. And I just want to say one more time, I really do hope we see you here at British Hills. Thank you very much, and goodbye. Goodbye.